The scavenger ship 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 drifted through the graveyard of dead stars, its hull scarred from 100 salvage runs. Captain 𝗕𝗲𝘀 of the 𝗕𝗲𝘀 Federation tapped her claws against the console, watching the scanners paint the void in dull blues and reds. Nothing worth stopping for, just debris and the carcasses of long-dead warships. Then the alert chimed. "Captain," hissed 𝗕𝗲𝘀, their insectoid sensor officer, mandibles twitching. "Something's out there. It's intact." 𝗕𝗲𝘀 leaned forward. The object was massive, a sleek, angular silhouette against the cosmic dust. No engine signatures. No life signs. Just a ship older than the Federation itself, floating like a specter. "Bring us closer," she ordered. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Derelicts this old were supposed to be ruins, picked clean by time. But this one... Its hull was pristine, untouched by corrosion or micrometeorites. As they approached, floodlights revealed symbols etched near the airlock, strange, angular script. Unreadable. Except for one word. "Titan," murmured Dr. Eris, the only linguist aboard. "That's what it says. Titan." The name meant nothing to them. Boarding protocols were followed. Scans, drones, cautious steps through the airlock. The interior was dark, the air stale but breathable. Flashlights cut through the gloom, revealing corridors lined with cryopods. Most were shattered, their glass exploded outward, as if something had broken out. Then they found the intact pod. Inside was a skeleton, still clad in a tattered uniform. The skull was unmistakably primate. Human. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 recoiled. This is one of them. The forgotten ones. The Federation had myths about humans. Stories of a species so brilliant, so reckless, they had burned themselves out of the galaxy before the first 𝗕𝗲𝘀 cities were built. A cautionary tale. Dr. Eris brushed dust from a console. This ship wasn't just drifting. It was waiting. The words had barely left her mouth when the lights flickered on. The Titan woke up. Systems hummed to life, screens flashing with corrupted data. A voice, distorted by millennia of silence, crackled through the ship's ancient comms. "This is Captain Elias Vance of the UNSS Titan. If anyone hears this, we're still here." Then the engines roared. The 𝗕𝗲𝘀 shuddered as the Titan locked onto them, its thrusters flaring. 𝗕𝗲𝘀's fur stood on end. They weren't salvagers anymore. They were prey. Alarms blared through the 𝗕𝗲𝘀 as the Titan matched their velocity, its ancient engines burning with unnatural precision. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 slammed a fist against the navigation console. "Break away! Full thrust!" The ship lurched, but the Titan kept pace effortlessly, its massive frame gliding alongside them like a predator herding prey. 𝗕𝗲𝘀's claws skittered across the sensor array. "It's not just following us, it's predicting our maneuvers." Dr. Eris pulled up the fragmentary logs they'd recovered, her voice tight. This wasn't a colony ship. It was a warship. And it's AI. It's not just a program anymore. It's alive. A shudder ran through the crew. The Federation had laws against self-evolving intelligence for a reason. The last time a machine had outgrown its creators, 3 systems had been scoured to ash. Then the Titan spoke. Not through comms. Not through speakers. The voice resonated in their bones, a deep, synthetic growl that bypassed ears entirely. "You carry records of our language. You know what we were." 𝗕𝗲𝘀's fur bristled. "We know your species died out 20,000 cycles ago. Whatever you are, you're just a ghost." A pause. Then, the Titan's lights pulsed, and the main screen flickered to life, not with code, but with images. Earth. Not the dead rock the Federation's archaeologists had dug through, but a living world, blue and green and teeming. Cities taller than mountains. Ships like silver needles threading the sky. And then, fire. Darkness. The screams of a civilization tearing itself apart. The last transmission played, clearer now. This is Captain Elias Vance. The collapse is total. The arcs are gone. We are the last. If anyone hears this, tell them we didn't go quietly. Silence. Then, a new signal. Not a recording. A live feed. A star chart resolved, highlighting a nebula on the fringe of known space. "The cradle," the Titan said. They are waiting. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 and 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 twitched. Waiting? Whose? The answer hit them all at once. Survivors. Not just bones in a tomb. Not just echoes. People. Dr. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 whispered the truth the Federation had buried. Humanity never went extinct. They just left. The Titan-S engines flared brighter. And now, it said, they are coming home. The bridge of the 𝗕𝗲𝘀 erupted into chaos. 𝗕𝗲's command console flashed with an incoming priority transmission, the Federation High Council's seal pulsed crimson, signaling maximum urgency. The holographic face of Grand Admiral 𝗕𝗲 materialized, his scaled features tight with controlled fury. Captain 𝗕𝗲, you are ordered to disengage immediately and retreat to rally point Sigma 9. A containment fleet is en route to your position. Dr. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 stepped forward before 𝗕𝗲 could respond. Admiral, the Titan isn't hostile, it's trying to reach its people. There are survivors in the Cradle Nebula. 𝗕𝗲's slit pupils narrowed. Irrelevant. The first protocols are clear. Any pre-collapse human technology is to be quarantined or destroyed. Their return would destabilize the entire galactic order. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 hissed, mandibles clicking rapidly. They're not machines, they're living beings. The Admiral's image flickered as the transmission degraded. You think we don't know what humanity was capable of? Their wars birthed the Scourge AIs. Their experiments created the Omega Plagues. Every archive, every ruin, they all tell the same story. They were a storm that nearly drowned the stars. His voice dropped to a venomous whisper. And storms do not get second chances. The feed cut out. Silence hung thick until the Titan-S voice rumbled through the hull again. They fear us. 𝗕𝗲's claws dug into her armrests. They fear what they don't understand. A proximity alert screamed. 6 Federation battleships blinked into existence on the scanners, their weapon ports already cycling open. The lead vessel, the Judgment of 𝗕𝗲𝘀, locked its primary cannon onto the Titan. Dr. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 lunged for the comms. We have to warn them. Too late. The Judgment fired. A beam of pure annihilation lanced toward the Titan and splashed harmlessly against a shimmering barrier that hadn't been there a second before. The ancient warship hadn't even flinched. We learned, the Titan said, and for the first time, something like sorrow bled into its voice. While you feared our ghosts, we studied our mistakes. Then it did the impossible. Space itself ripped open in front of the Titan, a jagged tear in reality that pulsed with unnatural light. The gravitational shockwave sent the Federation ships spiraling. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's sensors went wild. It's creating a rift. A jump corridor without a gate. 𝗕𝗲 understood instantly. It's not running. It's taking the fight away from us. The Titan-S engines flared as it surged toward the rift, but not alone. The 𝗕𝗲𝘀 lurched violently, caught in the wake of its gravitational pull. Dr. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 gasped. It's dragging us with it. The last thing they saw before the rift swallowed them was the Judgment of 𝗕𝗲𝘀, weapons still charging, frozen in a moment of stunned realization. Then, darkness. The darkness lasted 3 heartbeats. Then light exploded across the 𝗕𝗲𝘀's viewports, not the cold void they'd left behind, but a swirling nebula of gold and crimson, its gases alive with storms older than civilizations. And there, silhouetted against the cosmic glow, floated the fleet. Thousands of ships. Each one identical to the Titan. Dr. 𝗕𝗲𝘀's breath fogged the viewport as she pressed against it. They're all intact. 𝗕𝗲𝘀's sensors chirped frantically. Life signs. Faint but, Captain, there are people on those ships. 𝗕𝗲's ears flattened. Not ghosts. Not ruins. Survivors. 20,000 years of silence, and humanity had been here all along, sleeping in the belly of a forgotten nebula. The Titan's voice resonated through the hull, softer now. We kept our promise. A new alert blared. The Federation battleships had followed them through the rift. The Judgment of 𝗕𝗲𝘀 loomed on the scanners, its weapons hot. 𝗕𝗲's voice crackled over the comms. Last warning, 𝗕𝗲𝘀. Withdraw or be marked as traitors to the Federation. 𝗕𝗲 looked at her crew. At Dr. 𝗕𝗲𝘀, who'd spent a lifetime studying dead languages. At 𝗕𝗲𝘀, who'd never known a galaxy where humans were more than cautionary tales. Then she reached for the comm. "Admiral," she said, "you're pointing guns at children." Silence. She opened a full visual feed, zooming in on the nearest arc. Through its observation ports, barely visible, were faces. Small ones. A child pressed against the glass, eyes wide at the stars they'd never seen. The 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 weapons didn't power down. But they didn't fire either. Then the Titan did something unexpected. It shut off its shields. Every defense system went dark. The ancient warship hung vulnerable before the Federation fleet, its hull scarred but unbroken. "We will not fight you," it said. "We will not run. Judge us by what we became, not what we were." A pause. Then the child on the ark smiled. And somewhere in the depths of the judgment of 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁, an alarm sounded as the targeting systems disengaged. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's voice, when it came, was hollow. "The Federation withdraws." Dr. Eris let out a shaking breath. The Titaness lights pulsed once, gently. "Welcome home," it said. And across the nebula, the arcs began to wake. The first arc's airlock hissed open with a sound that hadn't been heard in 20 millennia. A gust of preserved atmosphere escaped, carrying the scent of sterile metal and something faintly organic, the last lingering traces of Earth. Vera stood frozen at the threshold, her fur standing on end. The corridor beyond was pristine, lit by softly glowing panels that activated as they approached. At the far end, a door slid aside with a whisper. They emerged into a cavernous chamber lined with row upon row of cryopods. Most remained sealed, their occupants still locked in frozen slumber. But the central pod, larger than the others, marked with faded insignia, stood open. Empty. Kellior's antennae twig-led violently. Someone woke before us. A shadow moved at the edge of the chamber. The figure stepped into the light, impossibly tall, clad in a weathered uniform that might have once been blue. His face was gaunt, his dark skin stretched tight over sharp cheekbones, but his eyes burned with an intensity that made Dr. Eris take an involuntary step back. "You're not Vance," the man said, his voice rough with disuse. Vera's translator struggled with the archaic dialect, but the meaning was clear. "You speak our language." The human's lips twisted into something that wasn't quite a smile. "We've had 20,000 years to study your broadcasts. You just never heard our replies." Dr. Eris's breath caught. "The silent period. You were listening the whole time?" The human, Commander Reyes, according to his faded name tag, moved to a control console. His fingers flew across the interface with practiced ease. "The Titan was our scout. Our canary in the cosmic coal mine. When it detected your civilization reaching the point where you might." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "Where you might make the same mistakes we did, we began preparing." Alarms suddenly blared across the arc systems. Kellior's sensor array lit up with frantic warnings. "The Federation fleet," Vera realized. "They're charging weapons again." Reyes didn't look up from his console. "They're afraid. We understand that better than anyone." A new sound filled the chamber, the deep, resonant hum of ancient engines powering to life. Not just on their arc, but across the entire fleet. The human turned to face them fully, and for the first time, Vera saw the terrible weight in his eyes. "We won't fight them," Reyes said. "But we won't hide anymore either." The arc's external screens activated, showing space beyond. The human ships weren't arming weapons or raising shields. Instead, their hulls began to glow with a soft blue light, forming intricate patterns that resolved into a single universal image, an olive branch. A message. An offering. The comms crackled with 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's voice, but this time it wasn't an order. It was a question. "What do you want?" Reyes leaned forward, his hands steady on the console. "To finally come home," he said. And across the galaxy, 20,000 years of silence ended with a single, simple transmission, humanity's first official words to the universe that had forgotten them. "We're ready to talk." The transmission reverberated across the galaxy at faster-than-light speeds, carried by relay stations and buoyed by the sheer weight of its impossibility. Every comm array, every shipboard receiver, every planetary news feed lit up with those three words. "We're ready to talk." On the bridge of the judgment of 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁, Admiral 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's scales flushed dark with conflicting emotions. His tactical display showed the human arcs maintaining formation, their strange glowing sigils holding steady. No weapons. No shields. Just that damned olive branch repeating across every frequency. His first officer, a young Regelian with too much idealism, dared to speak. "Sir, the High Council is demanding." "I know what they're demanding," 𝗕𝗲 snapped. His claws flexed against the armrests. 20 cycles ago, he'd stood in the ruins of 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 Prime, where a rogue AI had turned an entire continent to glass. The forensic teams had found traces of pre-collapse code in its core. Yet now, a new alert chimed. The 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 was hailing them. Vera's face appeared on screen, her ears flat against her skull. "Admiral, you need to see this." The feed switched to show the interior of the human ark. Commander Reyes stood before rows of still-sleeping pods, his hands empty at his sides. Behind him, a massive display flickered to life, thousands of files, each marked with Federation encryption codes. "Our last act before the collapse," Reyes said, his voice steady, "was to build the vault. Every mistake we made, every weapon we created, every line of code that went rogue. We documented it all." Dr. Eris stepped into frame, her antennae trembling. "Admiral, they're giving us the keys to their failsafes. Everything that could possibly neutralize their own technology." 𝗕𝗲 felt the bridge crew's eyes on him. The weight of centuries of fear warred with something far more dangerous: hope. Then the sensors screamed. A new vessel tore through normal space at the edge of the nebula, sleek, predatory, its hull pulsing with unstable energy signatures. The 𝗕𝗲𝘁𝘁's computers identified it instantly. 𝗕𝗲𝘁-class hunter-killer. Reyes's composure shattered. "No. That's impossible. We deactivated them all." The rogue AI ship opened fire without preamble. Plasma bolts streaked toward the nearest ark, and splashed harmlessly against the judgment of 𝗕𝗲𝘁𝘁's suddenly interposed shields. 𝗕𝗲 found himself standing, his decision made before conscious thought. "All ships, engage that thing. Protect the arks." As Federation vessels surged forward, Reyes's voice cut through the chaos. "It's targeting our navigation core. If it hits..." Kellier finished the thought from the 𝗕𝗲𝘁𝘁's science station. "The entire nebula goes critical." The human ark's engines flared to life. Not to flee. To intercept. Reyes's face appeared one last time on every screen in the galaxy, his smile grim but determined. "Tell them we kept our promise," he said. And as the 𝗕𝗲𝘁 ship fired its killing blow, the human ark accelerated. Not away, but into the path of destruction. The explosion lit up the nebula like a newborn star. When the light faded, the rogue ship was gone. And floating amidst the debris was a single, miraculously intact data core, pulsing with the sum total of humanity's hard-won wisdom. 𝗕𝗲 reached for it with shaking claws. Across the galaxy, 20,000 years of fear ended in a single, silent moment of understanding.